of Management Studies, IGNOU presents an audiobook on the course Mmpc 017 Advanced Strategic Management for MBA program. Presenting Block 4 Strategic Enablers, Unit 9 IT and Strategy, Part 1.
It is distinct from businesses per se. There have been arguments proposed that would suggest that the underpinnings of e-business are of such significance that it can be regarded as discontinuously different. If this is so, then it could be argued that a new business paradigm has emerged. The recent reversal of fortunes of the dot-com businesses has graphically emphasized the fact that they and e-business operate within the same business environment and context as conventional bricks and mortar businesses Porter 2001. However, fundamental to this is the technology that has enabled the e-business phenomena to take place. Web-based business models. The rapid expansion of the World Wide Web and e-commerce has created a number of new business paradigms. The array of business relationships which have emerged include business-to-business B2B, business-to-consumer B2C, and e-marketplaces. The business-to-business space includes the various upstream and downstream transactions that enhance channel coordination and customer relationship. In B2B commerce, business partners and customers are connected via the internet to participate in commercial trading and participate in communications and interactions. JCPenney, for example, shares packing, shipping, inventory, and product movement with suppliers. In B2C, business are connected to their customers through the net, and the various activities in the B2C space include product ordering, sharing product information, creating display space, providing customer information, co-developing products and customer service. An example of B2C commerce is the product tracking information offered by Federal Express to the customers through its B2C activities. E-marketplace involves linking the company, its partners and its customers via the web to provide opportunities for developing communication and interactions, including customer surveys and information exchange on such things as product warranty and service capabilities. In the context of e-business, the business-to-consumer sector B2C can be considered as secondary to the potential within the business-to-business B2B sector. For example, one of the largest supermarket businesses in Europe, Tesco, also has the largest B2C e-business in Europe and one of the few profitable ones. However, despite this, the revenue from this business is only approximately 300 million euros from a total turnover of 23 billion euros. The opportunity to link B2B network members and coordinate their activities by the quicker and more effective transmission of information relating to stock, order, administration, etc., has considerable potential for cost saving and service improvement. The often quoted example of Walmart and Procter & Gamble suggests that early and more immediate benefit can be gained by working through and interconnecting the supply chain. Christopher, 1998. Again, Tesco offers a further example with their leadership in this context using TIES, which is Tesco Information Exchange System, to link with their suppliers. The company also leads a forum of retailers with the aim of standardizing systems used by retailers and their suppliers. Impact of e-business on organizations. The diffusion of inter-based information systems throughout the workplace is changing the manner in which the firm work and the way they interact with their customers and suppliers. According to McKenna 1997, technology is transforming business environment in profound ways. Almost all technology today is focused on compressing to zero the time it takes to acquire and use information, to learn, to make decisions, to initiate action, to deploy resources, to innovate. When action and response are simultaneous, the firms are said to operate in real time. This shift in time demands and resulting competitive pressures are changing organizational structures. Increasing competition, information that could be outdated in the next hour, and customers demanding immediate responses to product and service requests customized to their needs means a major adjustment in company structure. To meet the challenges effectively, many companies have adopted reorganization strategies that include downsizing, restructuring, re-engineering, outsourcing, and merging or spinning off companies. The transition of operations in many businesses to real-time operation has begun to churn up huge creative chaos inside corporations. McKenna 1997. The 21st century corporation must adapt itself to management via the web. It must be predicted on constant change, not stability, organized networks, not rigid hierarchies, built on shifting partnerships and alliances, not self-sufficiency. Internet-based technologies are creating information overloads where a major task of practitioners is to help mobilize those frozen by the overload of information. Web-based information systems are also causing profound organizational changes. It seems logical to assert the internet-based information system have created profound changes throughout organizations. Researchers have begun to document the impact of these changes. One common thread appears to be that applications should be web-based in their design and that they support distributed collaboration and decision-making. Organizational change. In most organizations, few people possess all the information required to make optimal decisions. By taking advantage of web-based information systems, associates can access information from many sources at any time and from any place. This has created more team-based decisions and new organizational structures. Thus, the inference is that web-based information systems can lead to organizational changes by facilitating organizations that are more organic in nature and can adapt more easily to share information in a timely and coordinated fashion. Web-based technologies have similarly created performance improvements in organizations by changing roles and patterns of communication. Electronic networks open up new possibilities for reducing barriers to communication and sharing organizational knowledge, and electronic collaboration tools can tap into expert knowledge and resources throughout an organization where productivity, flexibility, and collaboration will reach new, unprecedented levels. Success in increasingly competitive marketplaces will depend on effective communications and knowledge sharing among members using collaborative electronic networks. Time. In terms of the impact of web-based information systems on time, Bain asserts employees will increasingly feel the pressure to get breakthrough ideas to market first. He further contends that rapid flow of information will permeate the organization. Orders will be fulfilled electronically without a single phone call or piece of paper. The virtual financial close will put real-time sales and profit figures at every manager's fingertips via the click of a wireless phone or a spoken command to a computer. He further contends it is about speed. All this work will be done in an instant. The internet is a tool, and the biggest impact of that tool is speed, says Andrews S. Grove, chairman of Intel. The speed of actions, the speed of deliberations, and the speed of information have increased, and it will continue to increase. That means the old process-oriented corporation must radically revamp, with everything from product cycles to employees turnover on fast forward. There is simply not enough time for deliberation or bureaucracy. While this sounds like a positive impact, the shrinking time demands may cause increased problems in other areas, for example, employee stress. Web-based information systems will have a profound impact on the organization and its structure. Organizational chart of large-scale enterprise had long been defined as a pyramid of ever-shrinking layers leading to an omnipotent CEO at its apex. The 21st century corporation, in contrast, is far more likely to look like a web, a flat, intricately woven form that links partners, employees, external contractors, suppliers, and customers in various collaborations. The players will grow more and more interdependent. Fewer companies will try to master all the disciplines necessary to produce and market their goods, but will instead outsource skills from research and development to manufacturing to outsiders who can perform those functions with greater efficiency. Therefore, as web-based information technology is diffused throughout organizations, there may be profound impacts on organizational changes, including the general flattening of organizational structures and the needs to develop middle management teams that operate effectively within this new environment. Web based electronic networks have been shown to have both positive and negative consequences. Anticipated desirable consequences have included timely savings, improved productivity, and improved decision making via increased access to timely information. Innovation and creativity were also shown to improve when workers could share ideas and knowledge. On the other hand, researchers have demonstrated that web based information systems can also have a negative impact on workers. People feel pressurized by the real time demands created by the non stop presence of the internet. They also sense loss of communication and relationships created by virtual communities and meetings, relationships based on physical and face to face meetings and conversations. Identifying e business application areas. When examining the company for the possible application of e business, one can focus either on internal processes and systems or on the externally oriented processes. If the main focus is to reduce cost or prepare systems for future e business applications, the internal perspective might fit best. If the aim is to improve the customer's perceived value, one can best investigate the company's buying and selling processes. Internal e-business value chain. Taking the value chain Porter and Miller 1985 and placing e-business technologies into the framework gives an insight into the reach of these technologies into the value activities. The exact meaning of all prevalent e-application is less relevant as new applications arise every day and definitions vary widely. Linkages already exist between activities. Some of these linkages have been integrated by using e-business technologies, ultimately providing a fully integrated e-business process. It is important to realize that these new applications have to be integrated with supporting and, if applicable, primary processes to prevent creating islands of automation. The physical processes might have to be rearranged to better align the original value chain to the new e-business oriented value chain. Integration of the physical processes and e-business application is essential to achieve maximum results. It is said a business is profitable if the value it creates exceeds the cost of performing the value activities. Porter and Miller, 1985. Analyzing the e-business value chain can help in lowering the cost and increasing the value of activities. It has to be kept in mind that the supporting processes should be prepared for future e-business developments before embarking into large-scale e-systems. Taking the web marketplace as an example, one can see that if a marketplace requires sound estimates for the delivery time of a product, e-fulfillment systems have to be in place and the factory floor automation has to be capable of providing this information. Supporting processes are not only the technical infrastructure but also the databases holding all information and people capable of working with the system. Formulating an e-business plan. Having identified the portfolio of specific e-business applications that needs to be developed from a strategic perspective, these applications have to be brought into line with the existing IT architectures. Commonly identified IT architectures encompass the following: information architecture, system architecture, IT infrastructure, and organizational architecture. As a first step, the impact of the identified e-business applications on the information architecture has to be assessed. The e-business applications can be integrated into the information architecture, taking the customary view of information architecture as the description of information systems areas in terms of the business processes they support and the data they use. Three possible situations can occur at this architectural level. An e-business application fits well within one information systems area. This means that the original information architecture is still valid. An e-business application covers two or more information systems areas. A decision needs to be made whether to merge the affected areas or to rearrange them in such a way that the e-business application falls into one new information systems area. together with possibly existing or projected other applications. The relationships between information systems areas have to be redefined in order to arrive at consistent information architecture for the new situation. An e-business application does not fit in any information systems area. A new information systems area has to be defined in terms of the business processes supported and data items created and used by the e-business application. Careful analysis of possible relationships with other information systems areas within the information architecture is needed. A similar process has to be followed through for the systems architecture. Specific attention has to be given to the stewardship of the data items, who controls the creation of data, which mechanisms have to be in place to control any occurring redundancy. And the integration of applications is how can we provide a consistent interface to the users. The consequences for the IT architecture might be more severe as e-business applications often call for substantially higher degrees of scalability and security. Accordingly, the required capacities and skills for the supporting organizational architecture may be very different from existing ones, which often gives rise to a renewed outsourcing discussions. Through assessing the impact of e-business applications on existing architectures, several consequences are identified. Plans have to be made to properly incorporate these consequences within the IT architectures, describing what changes are needed to existing information systems, infrastructure, new developments, or organizational layout. These consequences give rise to projects within the overall IT project portfolio of the organization. As a result, the project portfolio is populated with both e-business application projects and projects that needs to be carried out in order to properly integrate the e-business applications with the business structures and IT architectures of the organization. Standard project portfolio management techniques can be employed to render a specific e-business plan for the organization. IT in service sector. Past investments in service sector information technology have been aimed primarily at productivity or efficiency gains, and this is the measure that most firms use to gauge the benefits. Service firms have followed the lead of manufacturers in making great strides in getting work done with fewer employees, mainly because of advances in technology. Competitive pressure is making service companies eliminate costs, mostly people, and new easy-to-use software is allowing the full application of computer power. On the other hand, little attention has been given to using information technology to improve customer service and long-run business effectiveness. Perhaps this is because the benefits of improved service are often qualitative rather than quantitative. Standard accounting systems can measure labor costs, but not the cost of poor customer service. Consequently, managers must justify new investments in information technology on the basis of efficiency gains and labor savings. Input information. The input function in services includes forecasting customer demand so that necessary service capacities can be planned. Once customers arrive, expected services must be specified by questioning customers or by relying on service histories or observations of market trends. Most service firms have rush or peak periods and are not able to provide quality service unless they plan and prepare for these times. Unlike manufacturers, service firms cannot maintain inventory of their products as a hedge against fluctuations in demand. At any given time, a service may have excess demand or excess capacity, and service quality can suffer in both cases. When demand exceeds capacity, some potential customers may be disappointed because they are turned away. There is also a risk that the accepted customers may receive inferior service. For many customers, even if it is good service, it is no good when it is late or slow. Armed with the proper information, service firms may be able to adjust capacity to match fluctuating demand levels. When peaks in demand are predictable, forecasting and capacity management systems can be used to construct detailed staff schedules that match capacities to demand. In services, information must be secured from the buyer to specify the expected service. This is important because the more complete the information, the easier it will be to perform the other process functions. Customers also needs to be made aware of the various service available and the likely cost of each alternative. Such information ensures that the needs and expectations of the customer are fulfilled and the organization's time and resources are not wasted in dealing with customers whose needs and expectations it cannot or should not fulfill. Service requires a long memory. With a computerized customer database, a firm can attach a detailed personal service history to the names of its customers. A record of each new service transaction can then be added to existing customer files. These updates help sketch an increasingly detailed profile of each customer's preference and expectation and create opportunities for more personalized and enhanced service. Customer service histories that are easily accessible allow frontline service providers to know on the spot which customers are first-time clients and which are loyal repeat customers. Such information allows service staff to acknowledge and personally reward the value repeat customers and to solicit feedback and other important information from new customers. Customer files enhance service consistency and server competence. Customer service records also ensure that service is personalized and consistent for repeat customers even after their regular service delivery person moves on to another job. The Nordstrom department store chain depends on its sales associates to provide individualized service to its loyal customers. Currently, individual customer preferences are resident only in the memory of a sales associate, and the firm is working and convert this personal memory to corporate memory. An information system that allows customer files to be called up at many different locations would allow the firm to direct customers to different company stores, providing individual sales or services of special customer interest. This in turn will help build a customer-company relationship that is stronger and more valuable than a simple customer store or customer-employee relationship. Customer service histories can speed service. In the medical field, computerized patient records speed service, cut cost and save lives. For example, computerized systems can warn physicians of potential problems such as allergic reactions or duplicated tests. Customer service expectations are a moving target. To deliver superior service, a company must monitor customer expectations and customer response to the services it offers. While market research can be used to determine customer expectations, often the required information can be obtained at a significantly lower cost by listening to customers and employees. Most of the good services providers have a communication process to ensure that customer suggestions and requests are communicated up and down the organizations to the people who need this information. Although customers are the best source of information, they will rarely volunteer the necessary information. In industries characterized by large numbers of relatively small transactions such as financial services and retailing, computerized point-of-sale and barcode scanning device can now record every customer service encounter. For example, in supermarkets, scanners speed checkout and provide customers with detailed receipts. Moreover, scanner systems provide management with continuous inventory updates and a detailed analysis of performance by product, by department, and by store. The intended result is fewer inventory stock outs of popular items and improved customer satisfaction. Knowledge. Service providers must possess the required skills and knowledge to perform service. Greater knowledge allows frontline service workers the better to help their customers and make them capable of important judgments on matters that previously would have been handled by managers. Because employees can experience intense frustration when facing a customer and not having the answers, knowledge also supports employee job satisfaction, motivation, and confidence in dealing with customers. Knowledge databases allow relatively inexperienced people to perform very sophisticated tasks quickly, whereas service providers unaided by databases are limited to their own knowledge. Those with access to fast response decision support systems effectively possess the knowledge of many. This is particularly important when service firms rely on entry level, part time, or relatively inexperienced workers. Information systems can also be used to reduce the knowledge required to deliver customized service and to improve service consistency. If the most relevant customizing variables can be specified and programmed in advance, the firm becomes less dependent on frontline personnel to perform the customizing tasks. For example, employment agencies try to identify job openings offering the desired salary, location, type of work, and level of responsibility. Computer programs can be written to search the job opening files and automatically generate a list of feasible matches. Not only in the market knowledge institutionalized, but also much of the necessary expertise. Quality in services depends heavily on the ability of employees to share their knowledge. Service expertise can be captured in either expert system or group conferencing systems that provide electronic bulletin boards for sharing problems and ideas. Many professional service firms now find the core of their distinctive competence to lie in the accumulated knowledge in their databases and the capacity of their members to access and build solutions on these databases. A number of software companies maintain textual databases of reported software problems and solutions. As solutions to particular problems are found, they are added to the database and become widely available to the technical support staff that takes calls from user. By recording problems and solutions centrally, these databases give leverage to the learning of each technical support person. Job status. The longer it takes for service delivery to be completed, the more likely it is that customers will require information on work in progress, such as estimated completion times and projected costs. Many firms have developed customer information systems that allow customers direct access to production and shipping files. These systems reduce customer uncertainty and allow customers to measure firm performance. Frequent airline passengers expect occasional delays. What upsets these passengers is the lack of explanation and apology for delays. To be more responsive, one of the airline passes information from its flight monitoring system to coordinators located in each airport who make sure passengers know the reasons for delay. Quality control. Quality control consists of collecting data, monitoring, comparing the existing state with the service standard, and corrective action. The objective is to make corrections to the process before problems are created and customers complain. Many service problems can be identified before customers experience them. Consider patients who arrive at their doctor's office on time only to be told the doctor is running an hour late, or airline passengers who, on arrival at the airport, are informed that their flight was cancelled hours earlier. In situations like these, management could anticipate customer frustration and take steps to alleviate it, including calling customers to warn them of the problem. Quality control begins with data collection to determine the current state of the process. This information is then compared to the service standard to determine if corrective action is required. When service standards are subjective, example courteous service, or when the data are qualitative, example employee behavior, customer treatment, customer reaction, qualitative data are ordinarily collected by direct management observation. On the other hand, objective performance data such as customer rating and service times or system response times can be collected and processed by information systems. Complaints management. Customer complaints provide valuable information regarding service quality problems. A problem resolution situation should be viewed as an opportunity to learn how to improve service. The greatest risk is that customers will not bother to complain but will simply generate negative word of mouth advertising and take their business elsewhere. Service firms should welcome complaints and make it easy for customers to complain. The closer to the point of service delivery a complaint is made, the better is the service recovery. Experience in many companies indicates that it takes longer to handle an escalated complaint at the head office than it does at the point of service. Once a complaint is lodged, fast response is the key. Customers should not have to wait weeks to get an answer or to get a problem resolved. Successful service firms track complaints by type, example poor employee attitude, low service, by frequency and by department. This is done because many service problems are not so obvious and without adequate tracking systems often go undetected. Some services companies also use complainant satisfaction tracking systems to measure the success of their complaint handling systems. These systems generally send customers who have complained a postage paid reply card for evaluating the way their complaints were handled. Customer replies can then be tabulated by individual customer service representative, by location or by teams of complaint handling personnel. Customer feedback is not always bad. Service firms also receive compliments. Customer compliments provide an opportunity to increase employee motivation and improve service quality. Unfortunately, many companies do not have an organized system for routing compliments back to employees. This is particularly true for geographical widespread organizations where a compliment might be received in Singapore about service delivered in Paris. Verbal compliments should be recorded, the format is not important, and with written comments passed on to all employees who contributed to the service complimented and to their immediate supervisors. Typically, the effort and money spent on using compliments to motivate and encourage superior performance are returned many times over. Service recovery. The best service is preventive rather than reactive, but despite one's best efforts, mistakes are a crucial part of every service. The fact is, in services, often those delivered in the customer's presence, errors are inevitable. But dissatisfied customers are not. A good service recovery can turn angry, frustrated customers into loyal customers. Good recoveries can in fact create more goodwill than if things had gone smoothly in the first place. Service failures are best resolved when and where they happen, before they become costly to resolve and before they create lost revenue. To resolve problems when they occur, frontline personnel must be trained and encouraged to use their judgment. Employees need enough data to solve problems and make decisions while the customer is still present. In many cases, such as billing problems, recovery efforts require customer account history and data from several company departments. If problems are to be solved on the customer's first call, this information must be readily available to customer service personnel. Nothing could be worse than saving a customer only to have the same mistakes repeated because other employees who needed to know were not informed. To prevent problems recurring and to prevent weak recovery efforts that fail the customer twice, some firms use recovery tracking systems that capture information pertaining to each instance of recovery service. This information is available so that all employees who deal with a particular customer will know what occurred, what recovery methods were used, and what commitments were made. For instance, if a restaurant seats a patron with a reservation very late and promises a free dessert, the waiting on staff should not later add this dessert to the customer's bill. To ensure accurate data, customer service representatives should be able to input information directly into the recovery tracking system. Direct access also facilitates retrieval of information helpful to recovery efforts. Customer defections. Measuring service quality objectively through conformance to standards and subjectively through customer surveys is not enough. These techniques miss former customers who have left over the company's handling of an irregular situation. Identifying defecting or lost customers and measuring defection rates can provide a way to measure and improve service quality. The idea is to identify those customers who stopped doing business with the firm, then find out why. Defections can then direct managers' attention to the specific things that are driving customers away. To measure defections, one must have a defection scanning system to identify customers who have ended their relationship with the firm. If service or billing histories of customers are available, scanning the dates of last account activity easily identifies defections. Alternatively, many service firms such as airlines, hotels, restaurants, rental car agencies, retail stores, and even grocery stores now have membership programs and customer databases. Often customers are given a membership card that entitles them to discounts and all subsequent purchases are lodged against the card number. These databases then provide service managers with an easy way to identify inactive customers and often clues as to why customers are no longer buying. Summary. The rapid growth of technological innovations and the synthesis of information technology and computer networks are radically changing the way companies compete. Many business enterprises are making strategic commitments to technology for the purpose of gaining and sustaining competitive advantage in their industry. The creation of a competitive advantage through the use of information technology (IT) requires business executives to control this vital corporate resource and manage its use. Organizations seek to gain competitive advantage in their selected markets via a number of competitive approaches based primarily on product, service differentiation, and pricing policies. To understand the environment and customer behavior, they need robust, reliable information. In order to deliver to their chosen strategy, they must configure the organization, including extended configuration within the industry sector through alliances and collaborative ventures, and the various functional processes to deliver reliably and efficiently. Information System IS is used to configure the organization appropriately and to ensure communication between the various components. IS is then used to ensure effective communication within the extended value chain involving suppliers and the distribution network. Organization hoping to make strategic use of IS must understand the nature of the interrelationships of the above elements and understand the nature of the information flows between them. IS activity and expenditure should be prioritized where it is clear that strategic information will result or where the activity is not effective without an underpinning IS. Organizations which are at the beginning of the use of IT often focus on efficiency. They can do without a formal information planning method. The periodic drawing up of priorities and action plans per system is often sufficient. In this organization, IT is often placed in the existing procedure without great changes in assignments or in the organization structure. In a later stage, automation is applied to solve bottlenecks in the information supply and to improve effectiveness. For this purpose, it is necessary to chart the company processes and the information needs. The often functionally designed process structure of the organization usually remains intact. Most of the well-known information planning methods are extremely suitable for this type of information planning. Increasingly more organizations, because of their complexity and competitiveness of the market, are compelled to function in a more client-oriented way. In this case, information supply without bottlenecks is a necessary but not a sufficient condition. It is even more important to choose the right strategy, process structure and responsibility, and in association with these, the right set of applications and the right infrastructure. These organizations discovered that the functional organization structure involves obstacles and that information planning should not merely involve the establishing of priorities for individual system development projects. In high customer contact services, a firm's ability to deliver quality service depends on its capacity to collect, process, and distribute information. The input function in services include assessing customer expectations, specifying the expected service, and setting corresponding service standards. Good service providers have communication process to facilitate the collection of customer data, suggestions, requests, and transactions into customer databases. These databases can then be used to construct detailed customer profiles, eliminate service specification errors, speed service, and improve service consistency. Output information is used to determine whether customer expectations are met. While customers are the best judges of quality, many service firms lack adequate systems for collecting and acting on customer data. Customer complaints provide valuable information on service quality problems. If customers complain, employees need enough information to solve problems and make decisions while the customer is still present. Complaints should be tracked by type, frequency, and department to identify recurring problems that otherwise might go undetected. To prevent weak recovery efforts that fail the customer twice, some firms use recovery tracking systems to capture and distribute information pertaining to each instance of recovery service.
You were listening to the audiobook by the School of Management Studies IGNOU for MBA program. Course code Mmpc 016 International Business Management. Course Coordinator Professor G. Subayama. Voiceover by Chitra. Edited by Savita. Program assisted by Tarannum Jahan and Jagbandhu Jana. Program produced by Dr. Manoj Kumar Singh. This program was brought to you by Electronic Media Production Center of Indira Gandhi National Open University.